Hello, welcome to the Honest Heresy. I'm your host, Rob. This is going to be our review and a kind of overview of the Shattered Legions PDF and special rules that you've got for another way to play Space Marines. And honestly, after the Black Shields, I really thought, okay, that's enough ways to be messing around with Space Marines, but actually no. And, you know, also the Inducti. And again, as I've said, it's crazy that lots of this is free. And I know people have said, of course, yeah, lots of this stuff has been free in the past or was in books or whatever it might be. And I'm not looking a gift horse in the mouth. I'm just saying it's pretty amazing. So if you don't know what the Shattered Legions are, post the Istvan massacre, different warbands collected together, but they kept the doctrine of their legion. So instead of becoming a Black Shield, instead of giving up their legion, giving up their way of fighting, instead, you had Raven Guard, who very much presented and fought like Raven Guard, you know, buddying up with Salamanders as an example and fighting together. So in this PDF, you're going to be able to choose up to three different army abilities and then smash them together. There's also going to be ways, if you would like to, of bringing specialist units in, so special Legion-specific units into the army via a Prime Advantage. There's a new Gambit, there's a new special reaction as well. So again, this is just another way for you to kit bash, build, and design a Heresy army. What I think is also really fun about this as well is if you wanted to, if you were really excited about doing allies, like I keep looking at bikes and I want to do White Scars. I think that would be really fun. So I think about doing White Scars, but I think I'll start small, right? I'll do a couple of bike squads and I'll use those as allies. Now, if I wanted to, I could just run Shattered Legions and I could do my Salamanders and my White Scars together. And I'm running a Shattered Legions army, which I think is pretty cool. So it gives you the opportunity, especially with them new boxes that just got released. Did anybody pick any of the boxes up? Let us know. I picked up a lot of Mark II Assault Marines. That's what I did. But if you picked up any of those kind of like launch boxes where they had the Marines in with the Rhino and the Dreadnought, then that's a great box for potentially doing like a little ally unit that you want to bring in. And again, like I say, playing them as Shattered Legions. So it's a good way of building it up as well. Maybe moving into like more of the unique units in the future. So that's everything that's in this. So let's go and have a quick dive in and look at the rules, look at how you're going to build it. And as always, I love reading the comments. So if you've got any thoughts about what you think about this, if you're excited about it, if you're pumped, let me know in the comments below and I'll read them and I'll drop you a reply. So the first bit is just some normal housekeeping of rules. What happens is the normal Legion Astartes trait that is in on most units gets removed. That gets removed for the Shattered Legions trait. And the Shattered Legions trait is going to give you access to the Shattered Legions Rights of War. And that is going to let you choose three of the up to three, because you can choose two and then have another bonus. Up to three of these legions, and you can sandwich those rules on top of each other. I mean, instinctively, that feels very strong. Three different special rules that you can sandwich together to make something pretty strong, but also, obviously, it also makes you pretty thematic as well. I also like the idea of kit bashing, maybe making some Raven Guard, look a little Salamandery as an example, maybe some Blood Angels that have got some scales. Obviously, I'm talking about Salamanders a lot, but maybe you've got some World Eaters, right? And you've given them some Death Guard bits. That's pretty fun. Maybe, I mean, World Eaters that also have like a lot of, you know, churchy elements from Word Bearers, you know, slam them together. You could do some cool kit bashes as well, which I think is really nice. Yeah, even this gets backed up by the designer's note as well. Designer is saying the selected legion should be represented by a painting solution in the controlling player's army, and models in each unit should be, as far possible, represent legion selected at this stage. Ultimately, SDS, which is they do Old World as well, they really want you to build and paint collections that work really nicely together. Now, I know people are going to say, hey, Rob, what about all those units that they said I could run in 2nd edition and they got rid of, or they haven't given unit profiles for? Yeah, I agree. I think at some point a line in the sand needed to be drawn, which hurts. It hurts me when armies of mine have been squatted in the past, so I also feel your pain. But I also don't believe that the people writing the Horus Heresy are in it for anything other than the hobby. I think they're pretty excited about that. As the, 5th free PDF, I think, starts to show us. I think that's a crazy amount of support for the hobby, for your hobby, for my hobby. And arguably some of the best stuff that they've released has just been a free PDF, like in Militia, Black Shield, So good, so good. So yeah, you can choose these. So what you're going to do is you're going to replace the Legion Astartes trait with Shattered Legion, and then you're going to choose up to 3 of the detachment rules, and you're going to get those detachment rules for everyone in the whole army. So we're going to skip a couple of pages and then go back to those, because it brought up obviously the Rite of War, the Legions of the Shattered. This is the Rite of War you get from having the trait Shattered Legion, and from this you get mutable tactics, and that's right, it's lore time. Shattered Legions strike forces, typically compromise legionnaires from several legions, and each brings their own tactical doctrines and approaches to warfare. As such, over the course of routine training and the heat of battle, each Shattered Legion's force finds its warriors adapting to play to the strengths of all the warriors that make up its number. Okay, so models subject to this special rule gain a benefit for each legion that is selected for this army Shattered Legion detachment, which you'll do on your army list. So on your army list, you'll write up to 3 legions. The mutable tactics benefit for each legion can be found on page 6 to 10. If only 2 legions were selected, however, models subject to this special rule also have the Bound in Blood benefit. Okay, so the Bound in Blood special rule are shorn from their Legion and Primarch. These warriors know that they can only rely on their brothers and their unshakable resolve, which I think is a bit of a crazy statement to make post a literal heresy. Literally a sundering, a traitorous brother upon brother revolution. Some would call it obviously a betrayal. Who knows? Whatever the situation, I think it's crazy to say they are going to only rely on their brothers, having just been betrayed by their brothers. But I guess irony is the point in heresy. So Bound in Blood is a special rule. Models from this army, subject to the mutable tactics special rule, modify their leadership and cool characteristic by +1. Okay, the second and third battle turn by +2 during the fourth and any subsequent battle turns. Okay, why is this important? So if you only choose 2, of the Legion traits, you get Bound in Blood in addition. So +1 to your leadership and cool means you obviously aren't going to fail tests as much, which is pretty good. +2 in the fourth turn, is that enough of a bonus? Once we look at all the other stackable bonuses, we'll have to ask ourselves, is this going to make a lot of sense? We don't really know, but that's fine. But that's what the Rite of War effectively is. Choose 2 and get Bound in Blood, or choose 3 of the Legion traits. Okay, so what about equipping, as we all know, one of our favorite things, including mine. I spent so much time the other day building inducti squads, despoiler squads, and also sergeants from like the melee upgrades kit, adding different heads. I've become a little bit of a building Marines freak, just as an FYI, and I don't think I'm going to stop. But with that said, if we were building one of these armies, what special items can I take, or armory can I take from the other legions? Well, it's pretty good. Models with the Shattered Legions trait may have additional wargate options, but not prime advantages, selected for them from specific legion armory pages in Liber Astartes and Liber Hereticus. Okay, the controlling player may select from any of the armory pages selected as part of the Shattered Legion faction, with each model only able to have options from a Legion armory and treated as a model with the appropriate trait for the purpose of these options. Now, this is a lot of words, and what's great is, shout out to whoever's put this together, we have an actual example. For example, Quinn has a Shattered Legion army, selected Iron Hands, Salamanders, and Raven Guard. Not bad. And when they select to include a tactical squad in their army, that unit includes a sergeant painting the colors of Salamander's Legion. As such, Quinn may select options from the army of the Salamanders. They select to replace the sergeant's power maul with a forge crafted power maul, which is one of your upgrades. Which really begs the question, if you can start changing around, every model can change their weapon loadout specifically to a Legion, if that's obviously an option in the unit roster. So you could potentially build some very cool, kind of like proto-Deathwatch units, which is kind of fun. Or like, yeah, just have like an Iron Hands guy sergeant leading a bunch of Salamanders is funky as well. It's quite fun. Kit bashing opportunity is just wild. Okay, so what about bringing in specialist units from the Legions? Well, they've got you covered here with the Prime Advantage Exemplars of the Legion special rule. Okay, should we do the lore? Let's do the lore. While the Shattered Legions were often an eclectic mix of legionnaires of various origins, on occasion they contained within their number small groups of specialists, shorn from their parent legions who brought particular tactics and war gear to the battlefield. Such warriors retained their cohesion, allowing them to perform their particular role with expertise, rather than dilute their skills by fighting alongside those of other legions. Okay, so if a unit that has the command field, the command battlefield role, so like high command, and which only includes models with the Shattered Legions trait, is selected to fill a prime force organization slot, the following prime advantage can be selected. So you get exemplars of the Legion as a prime advantage. Add one additional force organization slot to the detachment that includes the unit that filled that prime advantage with exemplars of the Legion. It can't be high command, warlord, or lord of war. And then note that a detachment may gain more than one additional force organization slot if this option is selected for multiple units in that detachment. So you can get multiples of these. And you gain one force organization slot of any type, with the exception of, as I say, high command, and warlord. So that's good. So if your specialist unit is, heavy support, or if your specialist unit is heavy assault, then or recon, or whatever it might be, you've got the opportunity to explore that, which I think is cool. And put them in, which is fun. And each unit selected to fill the slot must be from the Legion Astartes army list, not include any models that have the unique subtype, and have a faction trait that matches the Legion that is represented by the model that was selected to fill the battlefield role slot with a prime advantage. All models in an army, in any of these units that have their faction, all models in any of these units that have their faction trait replaced with the Shattered Legions and have the following additional special rule. So let's just quickly recap, okay? If you have a command unit or a unit with the command trait enter a prime advantage slot, then you can take exemplars of the Legion, which basically allows you to open up another slot of any type and then put in one of your specialist units in there, but they can't be unique. They must have a faction trait that matches whichever unit you put into that prime advantage slot. So if you put an Iron Hand in to the prime advantage slot, then the unit must be an Iron Hand, unique unit, not unique unit, like special unit. It can't be unique specifically. Then they also lose their faction trait and it gets replaced with Shattered Legions. And then when that happens, they gain the Legion Specialist special rule. If a model in this unit would benefit from any of the mutable tactics, so that's the 3 abilities that we picked earlier, the 3 Legion ones, then they only benefit from a bonus related to their Legion whose trait was replaced as part of this prime advantage. So effectively, if you've chosen Raven Guard Salamander's Blood Angels, and you have put a Iron Hands unit, so did I say Iron Hands? Yeah, Iron Hands unit in the slot, you've unlocked an Iron Hands unit, then they're only going to gain the Iron Hand special rule bonus. They're not going to get the Salamander bonus, and they're not going to get the Blood Angels bonus for bringing them in. So, kind of pros and cons. You get that specialist unit in your army as well. Again, this is a crazy level of list construction that you're able to do for an army. You basically can run multi-legion armies with you can have your favorite specialist Blood Angel unit mixed with your favorite specialist Raven Guard unit, and you can put them together on the same board and they cohesively work in a narrative setting. It's incredibly well done. It's really wild. Other game systems must be so pissed you can do this. It's very cool. Okay, so you can also take special named characters as commanders of the Shattered Legion. Let's do the lore section. Throughout the Horus Heresy, many notable warriors made their name, not through their actions fighting alongside the Legion, but when forced to fight alongside other legions for common cause. Okay, so following units from the Liber Astartes and Liber Hereticus can be selected as part of Shattered Legion detachment, but only if the appropriate legion, noted in brackets for each of the following units, as part of the rules for the Shattered Legion trait. So if you've chosen, like White Scars, then you can take Hibu Khan as an example. Note that each unit's allegiance trait still applies in all cases. When such unit is added to the Shattered Legion attachment, the faction trait or model in that unit is replaced with Shattered Legions. Okay, so you've got Hibu Khan of the White Scars, Alexis Pollock of Imperial Fist, Shardak Medusan of the Iron Hands, Soltavitz, my goat, and Gavriel Loken of Sons of Horus. So obviously you can only take them if you've chosen one of those factions as your 3 factions that you've chosen, and then you're able to take them. I mean, again, giving you the opportunity. Like, this is an excuse for me to go, oh, maybe I will go pick up Alexis Pollock. Maybe I will. Like, which is what they're really designing these for, right? You can just have any ADHD brain flip and do a million different army builds, which is great. So that's cool to see. I love that. So now we get to look at what you get for these tactics and what you can add into your army. So the first one, Dark Angels, the children of the old night. First Legion have fought all the horrors of the galaxy has to offer, steadfastly holding their ground, no matter what assails them. So for the Dark Angels, or if you one of your 3 special rules you can add to your army, is then models in this army subject to the Mutable Tactics special rule are only affected by Fear X, while they are within 6 inches of a model that has a special rule rather than 12. Now, I got to say, if I was trying to build a good list for the Horus Heresy, I would include Fear quite often in my army. If I could get Fear 2 in my army, I would all the time. Because obviously it stacks with any additional negatives that you get from, like, I don't know, like pinning 1. So it'd be pinning 1 plus effectively Fear 2. It's not quite how it works because it reduces down your stat, but it's effectively the same. And at which point you're failing a lot of those checks versus not. So it's quite a good rule. I really like it, and not being affected by it is also quite nice, and also it's just pretty thematic. Next up, Emperor's Children. Unparalleled skill. The 3rd Legion have the affinity for single combat that are unmatched for any other Legion's warriors. Those who fight alongside them learn much from their perfect blazecraft. So if you've chosen this, then when making a hit test for a melee attack for a model from that army subject to the Mutable Tactics special rule, a result of a 4+ is always successful. Now, with how weapon skill chart works in the Horus Heresy, that's actually not a bad trait. Genuinely not bad, especially for some of your like more basic troops hitting into some of the higher weapon skill units. It's not a bad trait actually to have, to throw a bunch of hits in there, because that's mainly what you really struggle with, especially if you know, start equipping them with some really high strength weapons. Then you've got a 50% chance to land, but probably a very realistic chance to wound if you're using thunder hammers or power fists or something. So that's pretty nice, and very different to what you see from Raven Guard. Next up, we have Iron Hands, and they get accustomed to devastation. The warriors of the 4th Legion stand firm in the face of even the most savage fusillade. Their silent stoicism and inspiration to those they fight beside. And for this, anytime you make a leadership check in the morale subphase for this unit, a natural result of a 9 or less is always a success, which means you don't really need to stack up any other leadership buffs or bonuses for this army. But that's quite a specific situation, and it's a specific situation where maybe you're on the losing side of an engagement. So I would say this one is not really that cool for me. I'd much rather hit everything on 4s all the time. That'd be cool. White Scars have swift of action. The White Scars fight ever on the front foot, able to swiftly take advantage of any opportunity they may create. Those who fight alongside them soon learn to capitalize on even the briefest opening. Okay, so if you've got the White Scars trait, and a unit only includes models with the Mutable Tactics special rule, then they make a setup move as part of a charge, is selected to rush, modify the initiative characteristic, makes a setup move or is selected to rush, modify the initiative characteristic of the model's unit by 1 until the end of the subphase. So that's pretty nice. That's good. +1 to your initiative for rushes and setup is good. I think there's also going to be some other ones that do the same. So this is nice. You can do some really long bomb charges. You could also just move really far up the board. Very excellent. Next up, we have Space Wolves, the Spirit of Fenris. The warriors of the 6th Legion have been observed surging forth to engage the foe without warning, inspiring their allies with their battle lust. So if you have this Shattered Legion trait, when making a setup move for a model from that army, subject to the Mutable Tactics special rule, the controlling player can add +1 inch to the distance move to a maximum of 6 inches. So this is kind of interesting because you feel like that would combo really nicely with White Scars, but then it's capped at 6 inches. Although you still do get the +1 into the initiative for your rush moves. So you do have the opportunity to go quite fast, quite speedy, and get more likely to charge. And obviously this combos with also pluses to, always hitting on a 4, more successful charges, more successful hits. They kind of combo really well together. So if you want to do Imperial Fist or add Imperial Fist, then you get devastating volleys. The Imperial Fists drill themselves and those they fight alongside to unleash coordinated volleys of bolt of fire at even the shortest of ranges, striking down whole ranks of the foe. Okay, so with this Shattered Legion trait, we're making a volley attack from a model from that army subject to the Mutable Tactics special rule. That model can make volley attacks with a bolter as if it had the assault trait. So, you know, this is pretty good for just your basic tactical squads, making a bunch of volley attacks, snap shooting at your opponent as they charge in. It's pretty nice. That's fine. That's a pretty cool one. None of these are particularly scary or over the top, which is fine. For Night Lords, we have Murderous Reputation. All know the dread fate that befalls those who fall beneath the blades of the sons of the Night Haunter. Even a few of these warriors can ascend a foe fleeing in terror. If the Night Lord's Legion was selected for this army's Shattered Legion trait, if a unit includes any models from that army subject to the tactic causes any enemy models to be removed as a casualty, the controlling player scores 1 additional combat resolution point when resolving the combat during that player turn. And obviously this could stack really nicely with other pluses to those combat resolutions, which is kind of nice. But +1, is that going to be enough to really change the balance when sometimes you throw in a ton of attacks in? I mean, this one feels like 4 pluses to hit, +1 combat res really makes my combat much more effective. Maybe also +1 inch on my setup. That's a good combo of stuff. But then I'm running Night Lords with white scars and also Emperor's Children. It's kind of a weird mix, but I guess it could look cool. So for Blood Angels, you have Vengeful Blows. The Blood Angels visit furious vengeance against those who have cut down their brothers or those sworn to fight by their side. If the Blood Angels Legion was selected, then when making a wound test for a melee attack for a model from that army, subject to the Mutable Tactics special rule, you add a modifier +1 to the result of any models, you add a modifier +1 to the result of any models from the same unit that have been removed as a casualty during that phase. So this is pretty great. +1 to wound if any models from your unit died that phase. This feels really nice. Always hitting on force. +1 to wound, and +1 to wound is a great stat. Makes these pretty scary. Blood Angels mixed with Emperor's Children, though. Are you comfortable with that? I don't know. But that's a pretty awesome one. I like that a lot. I think that's very good. It's going to make your combat units much more effective. And obviously, you're going to take some casualties, so this is fine. Next up, we have Iron Hands with Iron Resolve. The warriors of the 10th Legion are expert at enduring short-range barrages of fire, shielding their allies with their own resilient bodies in augmented armor. Effectively, if any unit does a volley attack against a unit with Iron Resolve, then you get a 4-up Feel No Pain, which is pretty amazing. Especially if you obviously combo this with Bolter Discipline. So you're now going to have it so that you charge in. I'm going to fire my bolters as a volley attack. Now I've got a 4-up Feel No Pain against your volley attacks. That feels super strong, Iron Resolve. So I like that a lot. I think it's very, very cool. So it's a fun one. For World Eaters, you get Frenzied Pursuit. Warriors of the World Eaters cannot be restrained and will attempt to chase down even the swiftest of foes. Their allies are forced to follow in their wake, lest these foolhardy berserkers are overwhelmed. Effectively, if you win a combat and you get to run down the enemy unit, you can add 2 inches to the distance moved as a reaction. Like when you win combat, you get to make a reaction. Then you get to go and move an extra 2 inches, which is pretty good. Maybe with +1 combat res that we got from earlier is a nice combo. I like that. That's cool. Next up, we got the Ultramarines with Methodical Fighters. Acting in concert with their fellows, the Sons of Ultramar execute complex attack patterns in unity, allowing the enemy fewer opportunities to strike back. I got to say, I really like the rule that they're about to be given or about to talk about in conjunction with the lore here. This is pretty fun. How do the rules people make me feel like I'm doing a tactical strike? Well, what happens is if you make a reaction that does a shooting attack, so you make a shooting attack as part of a reaction, you are always firing snapshots, even if the rule would override it, like Overwatch as an example, and would mean that you don't normally shoot with snapshots that you're going to. So I charge in, you are making snapshots still. That's pretty cool. That's a really good way of kind of saying that you execute the plan. They didn't have time. I really like that. I think that's really cool. Next up, we got Death Guard, the Children of Barbarous. The Death Guard are at home among horrific environments, guiding their allies through even the most deadly battlefield conditions. So effectively, Death Guard unit or units, sorry, if you've chosen Death Guard for this army, then you could ignore the effects of difficult and dangerous terrain, and also you automatically pass those tests. Now, that doesn't sound like a big deal, but actually, I was working on some mission sets with my crew the other day, and one of the suggestions, which I thought was really good by Rebecca, was putting a lot of craters on the board and actually really kind of changed the shape of how the game looked and added to the strength of having moving through dangerous terrain. I thought that was actually a really smart play. Also impedes vehicles. It's quite interesting. It's a pretty cool mechanic. So actually, really, this doesn't sound like it's a big deal, but actually, I think if you build a battlefield correctly, this is more important than it necessarily sounds. So, you know, that's a terrain issue. Can Rob talk about terrain forever? The answer is yes. For Thousand Suns, you have Conjured Illusions. This one's really cool. The Sons of Magnus are able to create psychic facsimiles of themselves, distracting their foes as they break away, granting themselves and their fellows time to rally and regroup. Effectively, what happens is, if your unit loses combat, if you have got a Shattered Legion and you've chosen Thousand Suns, if your unit loses combat, your opponent cannot select the Pursue Aftermath ability. Like, you cannot decide to pursue because you've conjured some illusions and you're tricking them. 11 out of 10 list rules writing. Great. Fantastic. It will come up not that commonly, but it's still wicked, and I like that a lot. Next up, we have the Sons of Horus, Brutal Tradition. Those who fight alongside the War Master's own sons learn that mercy is weakness. When surrounded by foes, only tenacity and skill count. I'd love doing the lore bits. They're so fun. Effectively, what this says is you get +1 to hit tests if the controlling player controls the fewest models in that combat, but models with a bulky special rule count as a number of models equal to the value of X, and the variant of bulky X special rule the model has. So +1 to hit if you're outnumbered seems cool. That's a pretty good one. +1 to hit is also really good. +1 to wound. You can take that in combination with as well. That's spicy. I like that. Next up, we got the Word Bearers, Zealous Devotion. The Word Bearers' belief in their cause drives them forward, inspiring even the most intractable allies. Basically, if you make a charge roll for this unit, you get to roll 3 dice and you pick the 2 highest, right? You pick the 2 highest, which is good. That's great. Obviously, with the additional pluses to charge, you've got Word Bearers, Blood Angels, Word Bearers, Space Wolves. I don't think you should do that, but there we go. So, Zealous Devotion. Last one, we got Salamanders, the Scions. Oh, it's not the last one, actually. So we got Salamanders, Scions of the Flame. Okay, Salamanders, if you've taken a Salamander trait for this, a unit that includes a model from this army subject to the Mutable Tactics special rule is unaffected by any variant of Panic special rule on weapons with the Flame trait. Now, that's not the only place that Panic exists in the game, but like I said earlier, Panic plus Fear is an incredibly good stacking series of effects, which is different to how you might normally want to deal with a unit on an objective. You've got a unit of Tactical Marines holding an objective, they've got a line, and really, instead of trying to kill 20 dudes with a 3-up save on an objective, maybe just making them panic and run away is pretty sick. That's a pretty cool way of doing it. Next up, we got Raven Guard, and they get Masters of Obfuscation. The Raven Guard never remain in one place for long, leaving enemy troops struggling to identify their true position. Those who fight alongside them learn the rudiments of Shadowcraft. Effectively, what this says is as long as a Raven Guard unit doesn't remain stationary, it's going to gain a 6+ Shrouded bonus to it, which is pretty good. Like, you could take 6+ Shrouded on your guys. You can have it so you get 4-up Feel No Pains if you ever get charged. That one feels like just a straight good one. Like, every time you move 6-up Shrouded, you can add to your army. Great. Last one, we have Alpha Legion Assassination Tactics. This one's pretty good. The Alpha Legion have long studied even the most obscure uniform markings used throughout the Imperium, allowing them to identify and designate commanding officers to be struck down. Well, it says if you're making volley attacks as part of a charge reaction, obviously, then you gain precision 6+, so you can nominate where your hits are going to go inside of a unit. Very good. Very good. Lots of volley attacks. Let's get some precision on these. Super nice. So that is all of the tactics that you can kind of combo together. And honestly, none of them are overly strong or even as strong as maybe the main tactics. Obviously, they're nowhere near as strong as your main Legion tactics. But you get to combo these together. You do get to choose from 3 different armories to upgrade and equip your characters and other units as well, which I think is pretty nice. You can bring specialist units in as well, which I think is cool. I like this. I like a bunch of this. I think this is really fun. I think, again, the list writing is going to be really exciting. Let me know in the comments below what you think. This is very cool. So you also gain a unique gambit for this army called Spiteful Strike. The Shattered Legions look to strike any blow they can in pursuit of vengeance against those who have wronged them. Even as their doom closes in, they lash out seeking to take their foe with them to the grave. So in a challenge, if a model has been reduced below its starting wounds characteristic, you can choose this gambit. When you do, you can make a single attack with +1 to hit and +1 to wound, and you could do this during the focus step. If you kill the enemy unit or the other model in the combat, in the challenge, then you win, obviously. But if you do not, in that single, one opportunity M&M shot, then you are removed as a casualty. And then you immediately move to the glory step. So it's just like a final shot, which I think is really cool, very fun, super thematic. You can see some really great combats happening here. You also gained an advanced reaction, which is pretty cool. It's called Exact the Price. The Shattered Legions do not conduct war for their own glory, but to exact vengeance on those who have wronged them. Whether this be simple betrayal or some other perceived sin, those who band together under the banners of the Shattered Legions take their tolls in blood from their foes. So this is a reaction against a unit that charged you. After step 5 of the charge process, you can decide whether or not you're going to use 1, 2, or 3 reaction points, which I think is our first example of using multiple reaction points to build up. Either way, the charging unit becomes the target unit. And what happens is, if you spend 1 reaction point, your unit, as in you, the charged unit, gets +1 toughness, which is great. If you spend 2 reaction points, then you get +1 toughness and you gain +1 attack if you target the charging unit with your melee attacks. And then if you spend 3 reaction points, you get +1 toughness, +1 strength, and +1 attacks against the charging unit, which is really nice. And obviously, if you combo this with +1 to wound that we looked at earlier, if you run Blood Angels, or if you you've done your Alpha Legion and your volley shots have already done some precision hits, you definitely are building an army that's really good. But this is only once per battle. Let's be really clear. This is only once per battle. So when you decide to use Exact the Price, is going to be a challenge mechanically and also tactically. But it's incredibly cool. It's really fun. And I guess at least it's always going to spook your opponent. Your opponent's going to like, oh, I do want to charge there, but you're going to get +1 toughness. And they don't know until they've made the charge. So once the charge is made, that's when they got to find out. So they kind of have to put their money where their mouth is. And then we'll find out if we can exact the price. So that's everything that's in the Shattered Legions PDF. Very cool. Like I said at the top of the show, I think those new kind of start collecting kind of boxes for Heresy, obviously the Marine one specifically, this is really great for it. Being able to decide, do you know what, I am going to bring a small detachment of White Scars in. Maybe I'll run Shattered Legion one time. Also means you can run your current Space Marines. And listen, don't lie to me and say you don't have 2 legions. Some people have more than 2. It means you can run your current Space Marines that you already have painted, and you can just run them in a slightly different format for an event that you're having that weekend, for a game you're going to play that weekend, or something similar, which, that's also really good as well. They're giving you more opportunities or more ways, like we have seen with the Black Shields, to run Space Marines, as if there wasn't enough ways to run Space Marines. Apparently in the Horus Heresy, there's even more now. This also brings us to the end of the timeline of things that we were expecting to see from the Horus Heresy. All of the free PDFs are out. So now we're going to start seeing books, which the first book I expect him to be Custodes. I think it's the first book we're likely to see, maybe with the hot topic of potentially a lady custody, which I'm sure will set the internet off in a very normal and simple behavior. But yeah, it's going to be really fun. And I'm looking forward to seeing what these future Libras are looking like. Also, we haven't had any announcements yet about the next of our Journal Tactica as well, which I'm looking forward to. I actually really like the last Journal Tactica, and I don't think I've actually done a review yet. So if you would like me to do a review or talk about it in the comments, then let me know in the comments below, because I'm pretty excited about it. Also, yeah, Zone Mortalis should be soon as well. Yeah, Zone Mortalis, and also that small. There's also been rumors of like a smaller format game system that isn't just Zone Mortalis, that maybe is kind of a 500,000 point game system. In the old world, which obviously I cover on Square Based, there has been a big push to do kind of 500 to 750 point games. I even made a game format called Foray. We could always make Horay. In fact, actually, one of the things that I'm doing next year, so if you would like to attend any Heresy events, I have a bunch of Heresy events that you can find out on, if you're in Nottingham, or even if you're in the UK, or even if you want to travel to Nottingham. I mean, I think that would be a bit of a trip. But anyway, I'm running some Heresy events in 2026 on, and you can find out all about them on the tsnarena.com. We are building submission packs now, which I'm very excited about. We're also working on terrain, which I'm excited about as well. And we're hopefully going to make them be very effective. But we're also, really, really fun. But we also are working on some smaller format game systems. We've called the event squads. And with the success of the 500 point games that we've been doing, or tournaments that we've been doing, each one that we've done has sold out. I think the idea of starter events it's like a cool thing that we're doing, and they are in the schedule. So tsnarena.com, squads is a small format game system with the pack to come soon. So you'll be able to play small format Horus Heresy. So, you know, if you are new and you want to jump into Horus Heresy, but you don't want to jump straight up to 3,000 points, hopefully that'll be a quick way for you to play and kind of meet new people, go to your first ever event. So have a look at those and join us, which I think would be cool as well. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below. I'm in Germany this weekend at Spiel Essen. And then next week, I'm definitely going to start diving into the Legions. I think I'm going to start doing some Legion videos, which I'm really excited about. But let me know if there's anything else I could do. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.